Thank you so much, Suji. And again, thanks, Coach Carr, for joining us today. My name is Erdogmus. I'm the International Recruiter and Advisor for Bowling Green State University. And today I'm joined by Coach Curtis Carr. Coach, if you want to introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, my name is Curtis Carr. I'm an assistant coach here with the hockey team. It's a men's hockey team. It's my second year on campus, and I'm actually from Georgetown, Ontario, so just outside Toronto is where I grew up, and the majority of my family still lives. So I've gone through this experience, I guess, myself. Seems like a long time ago now that I went through it as a student, but anything I can do to help answer questions, I'm more than willing.
Thank you, Coach. And again, I'd like to keep the contact information. Please write down the contacts if you want to reach out to me or Coach Carr directly for any specific questions. We'll be glad to help you. I want to focus on the academics, and I'll also have Coach Carr, provide some input for the athletics side as well. But again, there are some information that definitely we can share, and there are some information that you would need to reach out to the coaches directly. So we highly recommend write down these email addresses and you can reach out to us directly. And with this, I'd like to start with the information. So in general, we're Bowling Green State University. You may have heard of the name. We're pretty popular with Canadian students. We get a significant number of students every year. I personally travel to Toronto many times throughout the year. Of course, this year has been, a little bit more challenging with all the pandemic and everything, but we usually do events with the U.S. Embassy in Ottawa and also U.S. Consulate in Toronto as well. So we do promote BG in Canada in general. So we're a public institution. So basically, public institution means less cost of attendance compared to private schools. So we were founded in 1910. We're a well-known institution in the state of Ohio. We currently have a little bit over 20,000 students. Actually, we actually had one of the highest enrollments for this year in the last, I think, 12 years that we've had. So we are very lucky that we have really good numbers for this fall. We are about an hour and a half away from Detroit and Windsor, Ontario, and as well as about 4 hours from Chicago and about 5 hours, depending on traffic, again, to Toronto by car. So we have about 50 states represented and about 72 countries represented right now on campus. With the pandemic going on, just wanted to give you an idea, we have about 35% of our classes in-person hybrid, we call it. So students go to class in smaller groups and stuff, and then about rest of it, about another 35 and 30% in remote and online classes. So it's a shared academic schedule this year. It will continue into spring with the same method, and we'll see how it develops, and hopefully we'll get through this challenge as well. So we'll change the academic curriculum going forward for fall 2021. So what are the differences that BGSU name makes, actually, basically? So we're talking about one of the best college towns in the US. We've been selected in the top 30 in the last 5 years. It's a very small town. We have about 30,000 people living in town, but it's a large public university, so it's about 20,000 students. I think currently we have about 4,000 or so that live on campus, and many of our students live off campus nearby the school itself. So it's a very small, safe, secure community. It is also one of the safest college towns and colleges in America, based on the crime reports and everything. It is also, it was selected by Wall Street Journal as one of the top public universities in Midwest for student satisfaction and student engagement. Students feel really connected to the campus, to professors, to academic staff, to athletic staff, as well as faculty. We do also have guaranteed internships, which I will mention a little bit about. So that's the engagement part as well. So students definitely feel connected to our campus and our programs. So I wanted to highlight the Internship Guarantee. After all, we talk about these opportunities, and we have student athlete opportunities, academic opportunities. But again, at the end of the day, I ask all the students the same question: why do you go to college for? Why do you go to university for? The answer is usually this similar target: to have a good living, to have a good career, basically to have a good job. So what our internship guarantee programs offer is basically open that door, that experience, because one of the key things when you go to a job interview, most of the time they'll even consider you right at the first stage if you have relevant experience to that job. They'll ask you if you have relevant job experience for that, for that position. If you don't, chances are you're not going to be considered for that. So it's very important that you have relevant job experience with an internship opportunity and you actually work towards it even when you're in school. So most of our undergraduate programs actually recommend or require some kind of internship or co-op. So we help students with this. For international students, like for Canadian students as well, we do offer what we call a CPT. So you can apply for a work permit to be authorized with your department, with our office from international programs or partnerships. So you can apply for a work permit to work off campus. There are on-campus opportunities, like you can work on campus in different offices or like the cafeteria or something like that, or like the Starbucks or something. But relevant job experience is going to be approved by your department, academic department, and also our office, and you can find a job that's relevant to your major, which CPT is basically curricular practical training. So it has to be matching with your curriculum. So we help you with that process. We usually have about, I want to say about 150 to 200 students year round for CPT, so on work permits. So there's a significant number of students that actually participate in these, internships. So it is very important for our students. Here are some notable alumni. Just a few names from like well-known companies. So we have the Honda manufacturing president, Jeff Tomko. He was actually on campus, I think about a year or two ago, was representing for an event from College of Business. Shantanu Narayan is another key person. This is the CEO of the Adobe systems. So if you're using like anything like a PDF document or like a Photoshop or something like that, that's the company that actually creates that program. And Mary Rose Sylvester is another key alumni that we have, president and CEO of General Electric Lighting. And Coach Carr, I know Mike Johnson is one of our alumni in Canada.
Yes.
I actually met in person, but do you have any other names that you can mention from maybe the ice hockey team?
Yeah, Rob Blake's a big one. He played here, obviously a Hall of Famer, and now he's the GM of the Los Angeles Kings. Nelson Emerson works for the LA Kings, was a longtime player in the NHL. So currently we have 52 guys that have played here that are in the NHL, have played in the NHL, and we have 9 former alumni that either work as coaches or general managers or presidents of NHL clubs. So it's a pretty historic program for hockey that way. Yes, and I think we will talk about that too, but we have a really long program. I mean, it was established back in the 1950s, I believe. So it's a very well-known and established program. So, all right. With that, I just want to let Coach talk a little bit about the program, if you can, Coach. And I listed some of the sports, Division I sports, but I know you're the ice hockey assistant coach, and you would like to highlight that if you want to just mention a little bit about it. Yeah, so obviously I work mainly with the hockey program. As I just mentioned, it's a pretty historic program. It's been around for over 50 years. 52 guys have come through here and made it onto the NHL. We've had 2 Hobey Baker winners. That's the award for being the top player in college hockey. So there's a lot of tradition here. We've won a national championship. So we have great alumni support. When I first came here a year ago, one of the most impressive things to me was within a month of getting the job, we had the alumni golf outing, and you talk about making connections and building a network and, eventually thinking about your career after school. We had about 128 alumni come back and play in the golf outing. So it's a well supported program by the alumni base. Our rink's right on campus. We practice in the morning. We have a weight room here in the rink, and we also obviously have a varsity weight room that's just for athletics that we use as well. And we're in the process of I believe next year we'll start a $9 million renovation project to the rink. That will add some luxury boxes and just upgrade some of the seating and lighting and things like that. So there's a ton of positive things going on. We're moving from the WCHA conference back to the CCHA conference, which will be a lot more local travel. So that'll be great for us as well. We feel one of the great things about going to school here at BG is being a part of the athletic program. We're a full Division I athletic program, so all the resources that come with that, as far as the weight room, strength and conditioning program, athletic training, staff members that work with all the athletes, and as well as the academic resources that we have in the library with Dr. Chet Hansen, and the study tables and the student athlete academic lab that our guys have constant access to for support academically has been fantastic. And we're really proud of what we've done academically. Last year we had the top GPA on campus, 3.8 GPA is what our average is, so pretty close to straight A students. So the support that we've had academically to help our guys be successful, not only on the ice, but off the ice, has been tremendous.
Thank you, Coach. And how many Canadian students do we have right now on the roster?
Currently we have 9, so almost a third of our team is Canadians. So.
All right, great. And I know a few other Canadian students in I think women's tennis has a few.
Yep.
Field has swimming, diving. I want to say gymnastics has one, and women's I think soccer has a couple students as well. So
yeah, correct.
Several students from Canada, I think.
Yes, and we kind of cover it all. We have we have a player from Newfoundland, we have a player from Quebec, a couple from Ontario, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and British Columbia. So we're pretty well spread out throughout the country. And again, you mentioned other programs. Being a student athlete here has been great because of all the interaction with all the other student athletes and the networking and getting to know each other and supporting each other, whether you go to a big football game or a basketball game, or our soccer program has been really successful. So going to watch them in the NCAA tournament and stuff has just been a great addition for our student athletes.
Yep. And one of the things, we had students come in, both our current continuing students and new students that came in from Canada. There are a lot of questions about the border closing because currently, I also just saw on the news today they extended the border closure throughout November, I think.
Yep.
So that's for non-essential travel, but our students are considered essential travelers. So
yes,
traveling from Canada, you're crossing the border with a car. We also had we joined an event with the U.S. Embassy in Ottawa, and they also had a Department of Homeland Security contact over there that actually clarified for many students as well as us. So they basically said, if you're traveling with a car as a student, you're an essential traveler, so you are able to go through the border. And also for air travel, so if you're traveling for any major airport to if you're flying to Detroit, or if you're flying to any Ohio airports like Toledo or Cleveland or Columbus, you are able to travel with your family as well. So it's allowed to come in with air travel. So even though the border closure is extended, that doesn't mean anything there are no limitations for students. So I just wanted to highlight that as well.
Yeah, we had no international student have any issue getting across this year. Even our new students, our freshmen that had new visas, there was zero issues crossing whatsoever. We actually had a player leave to go home once he got here because he had to go home for a family reason, and he was able to get back a second time with no issue whatsoever with the student visa. So it hasn't been an issue.
Yep. I think we're lucky with that as well. So
yes.
I wanted to highlight a few things about the costs. And again, for specific questions about athletics, I would recommend, again, reach out to the coach for any questions for that one. But I want to focus on the academics and academic scholarships. Now, cost of attendance is about $32,500 for international students. That includes everything. So that means your tuition and fees, which is around $19,000 a year. That includes up to 36 credits. Books and school supplies, room and board, so that includes your dormitory and meal plan, as well as health insurance. Also, BG is in a very low cost area, so just to give you an idea, you can find a two-bedroom apartment for about like maybe $500 per month, and that can be shared with a roommate, and that could be an opportunity. Now, we do require students to live on campus as they come in as a freshman, and I believe the athletic teams also recommend that. But with the pandemic, there are some changes with the rules and stuff like that. They allowed some of the freshmen to live off campus, but again, you would have to go semester by semester. So cost of living is, we recommend it's about $10,500 per academic year or so. That includes your meal plan and everything. So it could be a little less, it could be a little bit higher, depending on the costs. For scholarships, academic scholarships, I want to highlight pretty much almost all of our students, they get the BG Success as long as you get an admission to bgsu, which is usually about 2.5 high school GPA. You get the BG Success scholarship. That is $4,000 per year, and that actually continues throughout your studies. So you will receive that for 4 years if you start as a freshman. On top of this, if you have which most of our student athletes actually come in with an SAT score, you would also be qualified for extra academic scholarships, like the freshman academic scholarships as well, like we list. So if you have an average score about like 1100 or 1200 SAT, that means with your combination of your GPA, you can actually get a significant amount of additional freshman scholarships. So could be around like $2,000 up to $4,000. And if you're in the top tier, if you're going like with higher scores, let's say like about 1350, 1400, and you got a really good GPA from your high school, that could actually go up to $8,000 per year. So your academic scholarships can be anywhere from $4,000 up to $12,000. On average, our students get about like $6,000 to $8,000 per year. So that is deducted from the tuition. So our tuition is about $19,000. So if you get $6,000 average, that will be $13,000 per year that you will be paying for tuition, and another like about like $12,000 for like room and board and other costs. So that is a significant cost savings, and that actually continues as long as you keep your GPA high up, like the coach mentioned. If you're at a high level GPAs, like as long as you maintain a 3 GPA, those scholarships continue throughout your studies. So you can, your mind can be, both your parents and yourself can be safe and secure about that, and can think about the future and say exactly how much you're going to pay. We also have a tuition guarantee program that we continue every year. So usually when you enter a certain cohort, let's say you enter the fall 2020 cohort, you got a Falcon tuition guarantee that will continue or maintain your tuition level for 4 years at that level. So even if the state or the board of trustees increase the costs, 1%, 2% next year, that's not going to affect you because you have the guarantee as well. Keep that in mind. Ohio is one of the low cost areas, and we've been very lucky with the situation. We've had state support. We haven't had a lot of budget cuts and stuff going forward with the pandemic. Imagine if you're on the East Coast or West Coast, costs are significantly higher. So if you're going to like a big coastal like state university, even the state universities, you're looking at at least about 5% increase average, probably going to be a lot more going forward with the budget cuts around the larger states on the coastlines. So we're lucky with that. So Ohio will continue to be a low cost area. And it's a very key area, as also it's accessible to Canada as well very easily. So I wanted to highlight that as well. So we talked about the housing as well. It's about $10,500 average. Usually, I think we have close to 4,000 students living on campus right now. Usually it's more than that. It's usually like 7,000 or so. But with the pandemic, we have decreased the number of students that are living on campus. We have right now more, I think, single occupancy rooms available than usual. There are some double occupancy rooms as well. So we've been lucky. We haven't had like a lot of cases, I think, on campus. So we've been lucky with that, and we have a very good system that we do like testing and just tracking and stuff like that on campus. So it's very important for us as well. And also meal plans, we do have usually on a regular basis, you would have like a buffet style, like meal services on different cafeterias in different locations. Right now, I think it's all like takeout and it's all delivery services. We do offer, different restaurants on campus too, like you can order from them. We actually used one of the, fun factor you can check online. We use Starship little robots that actually travel around the campus. So you can look up for those, and then that's actually something that we use as a small drone that kind of travels around the campus as well as in town as well. So you can order food from them as well. So if you get a meal plan, that is also included in your room and board charges. So that will be all a package meal. One of the things that I want to share with you at the last slide, we have the Facebook and Instagram accounts. So feel free to add us and check with us. Our students are available or through our Facebook and Instagram pages as well. You can contact us. We also have student ambassadors. Actually, one of our student ambassadors is from Canada as well. So if you have any questions, you can email also a student's perspective to ambassadors@bgsu.edu. They can also help you with any questions and any tips or anything like that. They'll be glad to, answer your questions. This is the last slide that we have all the contact information. My email is over here. Coach Carr's email is here. Our Facebook information page is in there. Instagram, as well as our office email is iss@bgsu.edu. If you have any specific questions, feel free to contact us directly. And a couple of the things I just want to kind of highlight. I think we have some questions coming in. I'd like to highlight those, as well as we have, I think, we talked about the border closing. We highlighted that. I want to also mention, currently we do not charge application fees. So if you're applying for spring 2021 and fall 2021, the application is free of charge on our website. So you can use Common App or other services that you can kind of go through, but the easiest one is if you're applying directly to BGSU. We have the application fee waiver. For undergraduate students, we are accepting scanned documents. So if you have your grades and if you have your test scores and everything, you can email it to us, email it to me, email it to iss@bgsu.edu, and you can submit an online application. It's very straightforward. For academic scholarships, you don't need a separate application. So all those scholarships that we talked about, 4,000 up to 12,000 a year, you can be qualified for them as soon as you apply and you submit all the documents for admission process. So you'll be eligible for those scholarships. Also, if you're going for, I don't know if you have any students that are actually going for graduate programs, there are almost all of our graduate programs actually waived their GRE and GMAT requirements for graduate programs. So just as a note as well. I know it's SAT and ACT are very limited in terms of testing. I believe they still have testing centers going on in Canada. So I would recommend if you're, looking for test opportunities, you can check and then see if you can actually, find a testing center that actually offers tests. And I think Canada is in a better shape in terms of test offerings and stuff. And obviously, most of our students do not need an English proficiency test. So you're not going to need a TOEFL or IELTS or Duolingo or something like that. Although if you have it, it's fine. You can also submit that for us. So with that, I want to just kind of, leave it open for any questions. If you guys have any questions, Coach, do you have any tips that you want to share with the students? I know you've gone through this as well. So if you have any, recommendations, feel free.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to become a varsity athlete or a Division I athlete, there's the NCAA Eligibility Center. You can actually go to ncaa.org, and that'll walk you through the process of the Eligibility Center, where you have to send them your transcripts and your test scores so they can certify you eligible to play at the Division I level. So you'll be able to handle the athletics and the academics. They oversee it for all college athletics. I think as soon as you can do that, the better. If you are looking to be recruited, even if you don't have your final transcripts, as long as they have something of you, you can start to do visits and things with schools, and you can still be working on your test prior to sending it, but they'll give you a 10-digit ID number. I think that's a big thing to register for them for sure, and get started as soon as you can with that process with the NCAA Eligibility Center.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to highlight, I think there was a question about the athletic and academic scholarships. So those are separate. So the academic scholarships is separate that you actually receive with your academic qualifications. So those are merit-based, and athletic scholarships will be separate from that. So that's something else on top. So
yeah, and schools do have the ability to merge them, but you need a certain GPA in order to be allowed to do that, which is nice for sports. Sports like basketball and football are obviously handled differently as far as the athletic money goes. Other sports have a limited number of athletic scholarships based on the max set by the NCAA. And for hockey, let's say it's 18, and we carry 27 players. So if we do have students who are really good students coming in, we can take their academic money and merge it with athletic, which saves us partial money out of those scholarships that now we can use for other families as well. So the grades are something that's very important to us when it comes to the recruiting process.
All right. Well,
Great. I have one question. I know a lot of students here ask, how do you properly email coaches? Because they get, some kids get defeated when they email coaches and they don't get a response back. But there's a real reason why, right? And you shouldn't be emotionally drained because a coach didn't get back after one email. We had a coach earlier today who mentioned he has 1,000 emails a week, and he's kind of embarrassed he's not able to get through all of them, right? So what advice do you have, Coach Carr, when it comes to emailing coaches and expectations on that end as well?
Yeah, I think we get inundated with these types of emails, so it is hard to reply to everybody. For me, I think the shorter the better. Kind of say who you are, where you're from, where you're playing. Obviously, if you're playing at a certain level, it'll catch our eye. If you can kind of look at our rosters and see where the players have played prior to getting here, it'll give you an idea of the types of places that we're looking for players. And then if you do have a short video clip that you can put into it, I think would be good as well. And then for me personally, and I think a lot of coaches as well, is depending on the level that you're playing, if a coach is able to reach out either with a phone call on your behalf or an email, I think it says a lot about you when coaches are willing to reach out for you. So I think the email should just be short, precise, to the point, maybe a little highlight clip. And if you can have a coach or somebody reach out for you as well, I think that helps.
Make sure you're emailing the right coach as well.
Yes. Make sure if you're doing a copy and paste, you change the name of the school and the coach as well when you get those.
We've got another question here from Cheryl. It's how would you start the recruiting process for the Hocking team?
Again, I think a lot of it's going to be depending on the level that you're playing. Every sport's a little bit different, but with hockey, we're probably 2 years out. So we're already starting to look for the 2022 class. So most of our guys that we're starting to look at recruiting, they play junior hockey. They're in their senior year of high school, and then they move on and play junior hockey. So again, if you look at our roster, you can kind of see the junior leagues that the guys have come from either the US or all across Canada. So that's the first step, I think, is just putting yourself in the right league where you see people leaving those leagues to go play Division I sports. And then once you're in those leagues, if you send an email or have a coach reach out, I think that helps the process.
Great, and there's a great question from Raymond. I think Ken and even Coach Carr can touch on. So what's the type of standard and culture can student athletes expect to be part of when they join the athletic program at BG? And I think we can expand on this question and just really speak on a student athlete experience in the institution in general, both academically and athletically as well, and the type of commitments and responsibilities that they will face and how they should prepare for it. Yeah,
so to us, there's three components. There's the academic component, there's the social component as far as being a member of the community and within the school, and the athletic component. And we talk a lot about being the best version of yourself every day. So we try to hold ourselves to the highest standard in the classroom, in the community, and obviously in the athletic field. That's what we talk about. And then we do a lot to try and connect our players as they get close to graduating with alumni in the same field that they're studying in, so that if they're not moving on to play at the professional level, hopefully we're helping them make connections and get them ready for the work environment as well.